Trees. One of our planet's few accesses to oxygen. However, those poor things are in great danger today. Trees are falling, forests are being decimated, and natural beauty has decreased as a result. In 2020, it was estimated that 31% of the Earth's surface is forest. WWF projections show that another 5 million hectares of forest could be lost by 2030. If we don't want to see the end of the forests, we must act fast. Therefore, I invite you all to take a look at this film and see what it has to say. The story of cutting down trees is reaching back millions of years. Humans were cutting down trees for farming, house building, and other things. With time, the need for wood grew more and more and more, and thus, things like bridges or other everyday items came into existence. Forests were being cut down for things like roads or villages to exist. The problem is very serious today. Humans are cutting down trees at a faster rate than we can grow them. This is the big problem for sustainability, and why we might run out of trees in the future.
Kind of the biggest consequences would be the loss of biodiversity. So within the rainforest, there's such a high level of biodiversity there that if you kind of even some single trees, then they might have species on them that only exist within that tree. So we can sometimes lose species we weren't even aware of. And one of the other main kind of issues with deforestation is we're then losing area where carbon's getting sequestered, so taking carbon out of the atmosphere, which leads to more carbon, which leads to higher temperatures, so increasing global warming.
Trees absorb CO2, which then, thanks to photosynthesis, they produce oxygen. Without trees, the amount of CO2 in the air will increase and make a hole in the ozone layer that protects us from the ultraviolet rays. Not only that, but trees and forests are also a home to many animals. By cutting down trees, they are forced to go away and search for a new habitat.
So it can have large effects on the environment and animals, because a lot of the time it will leave the woodland or the forest fragmented. So you'll have large areas that are cut, and there'll be little pockets of woodland or forest all over. And then that means that it's a lot harder for wildlife to move between the areas safely. So if they've cut a large area of forest down and then they build a load of houses there, then it's a lot harder environment for wildlife to cross. So there's quite a negative impact on wildlife there. In terms of the environment, again, it's reducing the areas that we've got as green spaces, so reducing the areas that we can have carbon absorbed, and also reducing the areas that we as people can kind of go and enjoy as well.
If we wish to continue our future generations to live better lives in tune with nature, it's good to think about trees. First, we need to reduce deforestation by reducing the need for wooden materials to necessity only and plant many more trees.
I'd say the real solutions for deforestation would be, firstly, to try and prevent it where possible. because we've got plenty of land that we can already use for lots of these kind of things that are getting cut down for already. So there's plenty of grazing land. We don't need to be cutting down rainforest for grazing. We can use other areas. I'd say one of the other things is to restore these areas that have already been cut down. So replanting them with native trees from the area, and also just managing them for biodiversity and for wildlife, to hopefully bring them back to what they once were.
Removing the use of palm oil could help the situation as well, as its production contributes to 2.3% of global deforestation. We could also change our diet into veganism, because cattle ranching accounts for 80% of current deforestation throughout the Amazon.
So the main kind of causes of deforestation, as I slightly touched on the question before, would be to do with the grazing of cattle, so meat production around the world, and also kind of in more recent times palm oil plantations, so cutting down of the rainforest and planting these palm oil that's used in kind of many health and beauty products as well as lots of food products. Yeah, that'd be the main cause of deforestation.
Nature has its own beauty and utility. It would be wrong to dispose of it for a multitude of reasons. So, with all that knowledge, ask yourself this question: what can you do to make things better?